It was a mundane Tuesday night when I noticed a new friend request on my Instagram. The name was unfamiliar, Alexandra Harris. Intrigued and always open to expanding my online circle, I accepted the request without much thought. Little did I know that this decision would plunge me into a chilling encounter that defied explanation. The initial messages from Alexandra were harmless, filled with the usual small talk and shared interests. As the days passed, however, the tone shifted. She began referencing details about my life that I had never shared online. It wasn't just generic information. It was the kind of intimate knowledge only my closest friends and family would know. Curiosity mingled with unease, and I asked her how she knew such personal details. That's when Alexandra dropped a bombshell that sent shivers down my spine. She claimed to be my long-lost twin sister, separated at birth. My fingers hesitated over the keyboard as I absorbed the weight of her revelation. As skepticism took root, I probed for more information, seeking details only my family would know. To my astonishment, Alexandra accurately recounted anecdotes, shared memories, and even described the layout of the house I grew up in. Doubt gnawed at me, but a sliver of belief lingered. Could it be possible that I had a twin sister I knew nothing about? Desperate for clarity, I requested a photo of Alexandra to compare our physical features. A response came swiftly, and as the image loaded, my heart sank. Staring back at me was a face so eerily similar to mine that I couldn't deny the possibility. The resemblance was uncanny. The same eyes, the same nose, the same smile. Despite the unsettling connection, a sense of longing and excitement filled me. I had a sister, a blood relative I never knew existed. The virtual bond between us deepened, fueled by the shared joy of discovery. However, this newfound happiness was short-lived. Late one night, as I sat in the dim glow of my computer screen, a message popped up. Alexandra typed with an urgency that sent a ripple of fear through me. "I can see you," she wrote. My eyes darted around the room, scanning the shadows. It was an impossible claim, but an inexplicable dread settled over me. Then came the photo, a picture of my bedroom window, taken from the outside. My breath caught in my throat as I recognized the distinct curtains and the arrangement of furniture. Panic surged, and a cold sweat broke across my forehead. How was this happening? Was someone playing an elaborate prank, or was there a darker force at play? Terrified, I severed all ties with Alexandra, blocking her on every platform. But the haunting feeling persisted. Every creak in the house, every rustle of leaves outside, seemed like a prelude to an unseen presence. Sleep became elusive as paranoia wrapped its icy fingers around me. Days turned into sleepless nights, and the rational part of my mind battled with the irrational. Had I stumbled upon a long-lost sibling, or was I the unwitting pawn in a sinister game? I contemplated involving the authorities but hesitated, fearing they would dismiss my story as an elaborate hoax. Weeks passed, and the unease lingered like a stubborn shadow. It wasn't until one evening, while browsing through local news articles, that I stumbled upon a revelation that sent a chill down my spine. A story from decades ago detailed a tragic incident involving a pair of twins separated at birth. The details mirrored the narrative Alexandra had spun, a chilling coincidence, or a calculated attempt to exploit a real-life tragedy? The unanswered questions haunted me, leaving me to grapple with the uncertainty of that bizarre connection. The digital realm, once a source of comfort and connection, had become a haunting landscape where reality blurred with the ethereal. Alexandra's virtual presence may have vanished, but the unsettling echoes of that encounter would linger, a testament to the thin line between the tangible and the inexplicable in the vast, enigmatic world of the internet. The soft glow of my computer screen cast a dim light in my room as I scrolled through the endless sea of online profiles. Dating apps had become my refuge after a recent breakup, and I found solace in the anonymous conversations that unfolded behind the comforting shield of a screen. One evening, as rain tapped gently against my window, a new message notification blinked on the screen. The sender, Cameron, had a warm smile in his profile picture that seemed to radiate kindness. Intrigued, I opened the message. Our initial exchanges were casual: favorite movies, hobbies, and the usual small talk that accompanies online introductions. But as the days passed, our conversations delved into deeper territory, sharing personal stories and vulnerabilities. Cameron spoke about the challenges he had overcome and the lessons he learned. His words resonated with me, creating a connection that seemed to transcend the virtual world. I found myself looking forward to his messages, the gentle ping becoming a source of comfort in my otherwise solitary evenings. As our virtual romance blossomed, Cameron broached the idea of meeting in person. It felt like the natural progression of our connection, and excitement tinged with nervousness filled my thoughts. We decided on a quaint coffee shop downtown, a neutral ground where the warmth of caffeine could ease any initial awkwardness. The day arrived, and I nervously sat at a corner table, fidgeting with the handle of my coffee cup. Glancing at the entrance, I saw a figure that matched Cameron's profile picture. A wave of relief washed over me as he approached, a genuine smile lighting up his face. Cameron was charming, his laughter infectious as we navigated through a myriad of topics. Time flew by, and the initial awkwardness I had anticipated never materialized. We shared stories and laughter, the connection we had forged online seamlessly transitioning into the real world. Days turned into weeks, and our bond deepened. It was during a casual conversation about childhood memories that Cameron's tone shifted. He hesitated before revealing that he had something important to share. As my curiosity piqued, he confessed to a secret he had been harboring, a medical condition that posed a significant challenge in his life. He spoke earnestly about the difficulties he faced, the emotional toll it took, and the fear of being judged. In that vulnerable moment, my admiration for Cameron grew. I assured him that his condition didn't change anything and that I valued him for the person he was. However, as our connection deepened, so did Cameron's reluctance to share more about his personal life. He avoided questions about his family, deflecting with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Despite my growing concern, I respected his boundaries, choosing to focus on the moments we shared. One evening, as I sat in my living room scrolling through messages, a notification from Cameron caught my eye. The attached photo showed a picturesque view of a park, with a bench bathed in the golden hues of a setting sun. The caption read, "Our spot, where we first met." Confusion knitted my brow as I stared at the image. Our first meeting had been at a coffee shop downtown, not a park. I quickly typed a response, questioning the discrepancy. Cameron's reply was swift, explaining that he often visited the park after our coffee dates, finding solace in the serene surroundings. Despite the explanation, a lingering unease settled in my chest. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss, a nagging doubt that clawed at the edges of my consciousness. That night, as rain drummed against my window, I found myself revisiting our conversations, searching for inconsistencies. My mind wandered to the reluctance Cameron had shown when discussing his personal life, the carefully crafted narrative that seemed to sidestep any details about his family or past. Determined to quell my growing unease, I began to dig deeper, scouring the internet for any information that could shed light on the enigma that was Cameron. Late into the night, my fingers danced across the keyboard, uncovering a trail of breadcrumbs that led to unsettling revelations. The image Cameron had sent of our supposed spot in the park matched an online stock photo, a generic scene anyone could find with a quick search. My heart pounded as I uncovered inconsistencies in his stories, subtle deviations that hinted at a carefully constructed facade. Overwhelmed by a mix of fear and disbelief, I confronted Cameron the next day. I questioned the authenticity of his stories, the mismatched details, and the unsettling feeling that I was entangled in a web of deceit. His response was a chilling silence that hung heavily between us. As the truth unfolded, Cameron's identity unraveled like a carefully woven tapestry coming undone. The charming man I had met at the coffee shop was not who he claimed to be. He confessed to creating an elaborate persona, a mask worn to conceal a troubled past and a desire for connection that transcended the confines of reality. The revelation left me stunned, grappling with the realization that the person I thought I knew existed solely within the confines of a virtual realm. Cameron, the faceless lover who had captured my heart, was nothing more than a mirage, a figment of imagination crafted to fill the void of loneliness. In the aftermath, I was left to pick up the pieces of a shattered connection, haunted by the knowledge that trust, once broken, leaves scars that linger long after the illusion fades away. The virtual world, once a source of comfort, became a treacherous landscape where the line between reality and fiction blurred, leaving me wary of the shadows that lurked behind every screen. I was deep into a Netflix binge when a notification flashed across my screen. The message was simple, yet carried a weight of familiarity. "Hey, it's Lucas. Remember me?" Lucas. The name echoed through the recesses of my memory. After a few exchanged pleasantries, it clicked. He claimed to be a childhood friend from a town I left behind years ago. As the conversation unfolded, so did the layers of nostalgia. We reminisced about tree houses, secret hideouts, and shared dreams. Despite my initial skepticism, Lucas's details were uncannily accurate. He knew the names of my old neighbors, the street we lived on, and even the nickname I had for my pet hamster, Mr. Whiskers. It felt like reconnecting with a long-lost friend, and the virtual bond deepened with every message. But as the virtual camaraderie flourished, so did a sinister undercurrent. Lucas subtly shifted the tone, weaving a narrative of betrayal and abandonment. According to him, I had left our hometown abruptly, abandoning our friendship without a word. He hinted at a dark secret that had shattered his life, laying the blame squarely at my feet. I racked my brain for any recollection of such an event, but the fog of time had obscured many details. Lucas, however, seemed to remember every perceived slight with haunting clarity. His messages became accusatory, dripping with resentment. I felt an unsettling mixture of guilt and confusion, haunted by a past I couldn't fully grasp. Then, the tone shifted once more. Lucas spoke of revenge, of reclaiming what was rightfully his. It was cryptic, filled with ominous warnings and veiled threats. I tried to reason with him, to understand the source of his bitterness, but he remained elusive, avoiding direct answers. The tipping point came when he sent a photograph, my front door bathed in the cold glow of a street lamp. The message was chilling in its simplicity. "I'm coming for what you took from me." Panic set in. I scrutinized the photo, searching for any sign of a hidden agenda. But the image seemed ordinary, capturing the mundane facade of my suburban home. Fear gripped me as I questioned how Lucas had obtained such a photo. Was he nearby, lurking in the shadows, watching my every move? I debated contacting the police, but a nagging doubt held me back. What if this was some twisted prank, or a case of mistaken identity? Yet, the fear festered, gnawing at my sanity with each passing day. Lucas's messages became increasingly erratic, between rage and desperate pleas for understanding. I became a prisoner of my own home, peeking through blinds at every creak, jumping at the slightest noise. One evening, as darkness settled outside my window, I received a message that sent shivers down my spine. A photo, not of my home this time, but of my workplace. The accompanying message was a venomous whisper. "I know where you spend your days." My heart raced as I contemplated the implications. Lucas had breached the boundaries of my personal and professional life. The police, my friends, and even family dismissed my pleas as paranoia. It seemed I was alone in this nightmarish game, with Lucas as the puppeteer pulling the strings. In a desperate attempt to unveil the truth, I delved into my own past. I scoured old yearbooks, revisited childhood haunts, and reached out to anyone who might remember Lucas. Yet, each dead end intensified the feeling of being ensnared in a web of lies and manipulation. Then, a breakthrough, a faded photograph from a class picnic, featuring a grinning Lucas among a sea of familiar faces. My hands trembled as I traced his image, searching for any sign of the festering resentment he claimed. But the snapshot captured a moment of unbridled joy, a snapshot of innocence untouched by the shadows of betrayal. Armed with the photo, I confronted Lucas, demanding an explanation for his twisted game. The response was swift and unsettling. Another photo, this time from within my own home. The caption was a sinister taunt. "You can't escape your past." The revelation struck like a sledgehammer. Lucas wasn't a victim seeking revenge. He was a phantom from my past, a specter with a personal vendetta. But how had he infiltrated my life so seamlessly? The answer lay in the details he knew, the intricacies of my past that only someone intimately familiar could possess. As the pieces fell into place, I unearthed a forgotten chapter of my childhood. Lucas wasn't a friend. He was a classmate who harbored a one-sided rivalry. His resentment had festered over the years, transforming into a toxic obsession fueled by perceived slights and imagined betrayals. The final revelation came in the form of a cryptic message, a confession of unrequited love. Lucas had harbored romantic feelings that I, oblivious to his turmoil, had dismissed in the pursuit of friendship. The bitterness that fueled his vendetta was rooted in a twisted sense of entitlement, a belief that he deserved more than the friendship I offered. With this revelation, I faced a choice: succumb to the terror that gripped me or confront Lucas head-on. The police, armed with the newfound knowledge, finally took my pleas seriously. Together, we traced Lucas's digital trail, unmasking the phantom that haunted my life. The arrest was a cathartic moment, a blend of closure and the bitter taste of betrayal. As Lucas was led away in handcuffs, his eyes bore into mine with a mix of resentment and resignation. The chapter that had haunted me for weeks closed, but the scars of the Catfish's revenge lingered, a haunting reminder of the darkness that can lurk behind the screen. My recent breakup left me shattered, seeking solace in the vast realm of online forums. Lonely nights turned into endless scrolling, desperate for connection. That's when I stumbled upon a thread where Elena offered comforting words. Our virtual friendship blossomed with each message, and soon, we found solace in each other's digital presence. Elena seemed like a kindred spirit, understanding my pain. She was empathetic, compassionate, and soon became the anchor I clung to in the storm of heartbreak. Our conversations evolved from the mundane to the profound, and as the days passed, I began to feel a warmth emanating from our exchanges. Little did I know that this comforting glow would soon transform into the cold, eerie shadows of obsession. It started innocently enough. Elena's messages were constant, a comforting hum in the background of my life. She knew the details of my breakup, my job struggles, and the dreams that kept me awake at night. It felt good to be understood, even if it was by a stranger hiding behind a screen. As our friendship deepened, so did Elena's knowledge of my daily routine. She seemed to know when I went to work, what my favorite coffee was, and even the park where I was on weekends. One day, her messages took an unsettling turn. "I saw you at the cafe today," she typed, the words glowing on my screen like a sinister omen. A chill ran down my spine. How could she know where I was? I scanned the crowded cafe, paranoia tightening its grip. But there was no sign of anyone suspicious. I shrugged it off as a coincidence, convincing myself that she must have guessed, or perhaps I had mentioned it in passing. The illusion of normalcy shattered when Elena sent a photo. It was a zoomed-in shot of me sitting at the cafe, engrossed in my laptop. The room blurred in the background, but my face was clear, a mix of confusion and fear etched across it. My heart raced, and I felt exposed, vulnerable in the face of an unseen watcher. Panic set in. How had she taken this photo? Was she spying on me? The line between the virtual and real world blurred, leaving me trapped in a nightmare of uncertainty. Desperation prompted me to confront Elena, demanding an explanation. She dismissed my concerns with practiced ease, claiming it was a lucky guess and a harmless coincidence. But the coincidences didn't stop there. She accurately predicted my movements, from the gym to my grocery shopping. Each revelation came with a photo, a visual testimony to her unnerving omnipresence in my life. I confided in friends, but skepticism met my pleas for help. "It's probably just a prank," they said, brushing off the severity of the situation. Alone and haunted, I decided to take matters into my own hands. I cut off contact with Elena, blocking her on every platform, hoping to sever the digital tether linking us. But the relief was short-lived. Days later, I received an email, subject line: "Alone, but never forgotten." Dread filled me as I opened the message. It contained a photo of me walking home, the timestamp revealing it was taken that very evening. The accompanying message gave me chills. "I may be out of sight, but I'm never out of mind." I reported the harassment to the police, but without concrete evidence of a physical threat, they couldn't do much. The digital trail proved elusive, as Elena had expertly covered her tracks. Sleep became a luxury, and paranoia a constant companion. As the weeks passed, Elena's messages became more sinister. She spoke of dreams we supposedly shared, detailing the intricate landscapes of my mind. Her words hinted at an intimate knowledge that transcended the boundaries of reason. I felt exposed and hopeless. One evening, I received a package at my doorstep. Inside, I found a collection of my most cherished childhood toys, accompanied by a cryptic note. "You've always been mine, even before you knew it." The air grew heavy with the weight of fear and disbelief. Elena had infiltrated not just my digital world but my physical space, leaving behind a haunting reminder of her disturbing presence. The authorities were once again helpless, unable to trace the origins of the package. It seemed Elena reveled in her ability to elude capture, dancing on the fringes of my life. The fear escalated, consuming me in a suffocating grip that refused to relent. Days turned into nights, and the line between reality and nightmare blurred. Elena's messages persisted, growing more erratic and unhinged. She spoke of a future we were destined to share, a life entwined by an invisible thread of obsession. The horror reached its climax one fateful night. I received a final message, devoid of words but laden with symbolism. It was a photo of my front door, ajar, inviting me into the abyss of the unknown. Fear paralyzed me as I stood before that very door, unsure of what awaited on the other side. Summoning every ounce of courage, I flung the door open. The hallway was empty, shadows playing tricks on my anxious mind. But the message was clear. Elena had breached the final barrier, leaving me to confront the terrifying reality of my virtual stalker. The ordeal left scars, both seen and unseen. The digital realm, once a source of solace, had become a haunted landscape. The fear lingered, an ever-present specter that whispered in the quiet moments, a chilling reminder that the line between the virtual and the real was thinner than I ever dared to imagine. The autumn wind whispered through the trees as I sat alone in my dimly lit living room, the soft glow of my laptop casting shadows on the walls. The familiar ping of a message notification echoed in the silence. Curiosity piqued. I opened the chat window to find a message from an unfamiliar profile named Rebecca_lost sister. The message began innocently enough, a greeting and a tentative introduction. My initial skepticism waned as the details unfolded. Rebecca claimed to be my long-lost sister, separated from our family at birth due to circumstances shrouded in mystery. Skeptical but intrigued, I hesitantly engaged in conversation, probing for details that only my family would know. As we exchanged memories and stories from our childhood, a strange sense of nostalgia crept over me. Her descriptions were vivid, her recollection uncannily accurate. The more we delved into the past, the more I found myself drawn to the possibility that this stranger might indeed be my sister. Days turned into weeks, and our conversations deepened. Rebecca spoke of the pain of being separated from family, the longing to connect with blood relatives, and the relentless pursuit of her identity. Her words resonated with a certain melancholy, tugging at my heartstrings. I couldn't help but feel a growing sense of sympathy and a desire to uncover the truth. As our bond strengthened, Rebecca proposed a reunion. She claimed to have discovered an old address from our childhood, a place where we had lived together briefly before our separation. Excitement and trepidation mingled as I agreed to meet her there, hoping to fill the void left by the mysterious circumstances of our past. The day of the reunion arrived, and I found myself standing in front of an old house, the paint peeling and the windows long devoid of life. The air hung heavy with anticipation as I knocked on the creaking door. No response. Doubt and uncertainty gnawed at me, but just as I turned to leave, the door slowly creaked open. The house, once filled with laughter and the echoes of childhood, now stood in eerie silence. The dim light filtering through the dust revealed an abandoned living room, frozen in time. As I cautiously explored the rooms, a sinking feeling settled in my stomach. The realization dawned on me: Rebecca had never lived here. The stories, the memories, all carefully fabricated. A shiver ran down my spine as I retraced my steps to the living room. A single photograph lay on a dusty coffee table, a picture of 2 children, a boy and a girl, laughing in front of the very house I stood in. The resemblance was uncanny, and a surge of emotion washed over me. The manipulated nostalgia, the carefully crafted tales, it was all a ploy to evoke a connection, to exploit the vulnerability of a lost sibling. As the truth unfolded, I received a chilling message on my phone. A picture of the abandoned house, taken from a distance, accompanied by a simple yet ominous caption. "Did you enjoy the trip down memory lane?" Panic set in as I realized the gravity of the situation. Someone had orchestrated this elaborate catfish, preying on my longing for family and using it against me. Fear constricted my chest as I sought answers. I reached out to Rebecca, demanding an explanation, but her profile had vanished. Every trace of our conversations, the carefully spun web of lies, erased. The feeling of violation and betrayal lingered, leaving me with an unsettling awareness that I had been manipulated by a faceless adversary. Haunted by the ghost of a connection that never existed, I turned to the authorities for help. They traced the digital trail, but the catfish had left no tangible clues. The virtual realm offered the perfect disguise, a mask to hide behind while toying with the emotions of unsuspecting victims. Months passed, but the scars of the catfish's deception remained. Trust became elusive, and every online interaction felt tinged with suspicion. The fear of being watched, of having my vulnerabilities exploited, haunted my digital existence. As I rebuilt my life, the question of the catfish's motive lingered. Was it a personal vendetta, a twisted sense of amusement, or a calculated act of cruelty? The ghost of the catfish lingered, a presence served as a stark reminder of the dangers lurking behind the screen. The virtual world, once a source of connection and community, now held the shadows of betrayal, forcing me to question every online relationship and to tread carefully through the intricate dance of trust and deception.